Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. 2020 is almost over. 2021 is right around the bend. No, things are not just all the way better yet, but we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's vaccines on the horizon. Things are getting a little bit better. Now, at the end of the year, this is usually the time we're thinking about annual planning, right? We are thinking about the past year, what we accomplished, what we didn't. This year we may not have accomplished a lot of things that we intended to because our plans had to change so drastically. And that's okay. But we're thinking about 2021 too, and thinking about, what do we want to do next year and how do we plan? And planning, it is really different when we're in the middle of a pandemic and our planning horizons have shortened and we have less control over things. It can feel really futile to do any planning at all. But planning actually is so important, regardless of whether we have control over things. Planning is what helps us to be able to make better decisions so that we can pivot properly with the new information. I had a client, we were talking about planning recently, and she's a project manager, and she said something to me that just really stuck with me. And it was that planning is not about perfection, it's about preparation. And I totally agree. Right. And so we want to think about, how can we do some planning for 2021 that feels good and that's not a total waste of time? And how can we do that in a way that feels kind of realistic too, right? And so the way that I've been thinking about this is a couple of things. One, we want to be thinking directionally. We don't want to be thinking about specific concrete outcomes for December of 2021 because that's kind of ridiculous at this point, right? But what is the direction we can take things? Like, where can we go? What do we want to be doing more of? What do we want to be doing less of? How can we start taking steps in those directions? We also want to be thinking about what is our locus of control. So what can control and what can't we control? Because if we're spending a lot of energy on the things that we can't control, well, we don't have that energy to expend anymore, right? I mean, I think we are depleted in terms of our energy resources. And so that's not a valuable use of our resources. So we want to think about what can we control. And often this means that we can control what we call like the lead indicators, right? We can control our inputs. We can't always control the outputs. So, what does this mean? Let's say you're in sales. You're not going to be able to control how many sales you get this year, right? What can you control is how many people you are reaching out to, right? You are not going to be able to control whether your kid's school opens and reopens and closes and opens again, or your daycare or whatever. We can't control these things. What we can do is to put a little plan in place so that the transition between school being in person and school being virtual is a little bit easier every time, right? We want to be able to think about what we can control and what we cannot control. So think about that, the direction that you want to go, and then where do you have control? And when we do planning, we're going to be thinking flexibly this year. And so I've put together a planning guide that can help you to create some flexible plans that won't make you feel like, if I don't meet this, everything has all gone wrong, right? We want to be really thinking flexibly. So in this simple plan, I'll just give you an idea of what it contains, and you can download it for free. You're going to be thinking about, what are your goals, just a couple of top goals for personal and work life for the upcoming year. And then we're going to be thinking about what is one step, the first step you can take towards those goals. Because we just need to be putting one foot in front of the other. We need to be thinking directionally like that. We're not going to get every single milestone all in place because that doesn't make sense right now. Then we want to be thinking about a little reflection in terms of what do we want to keep doing? So what's working well? We want to keep doing it. We want to make time for it. What do we want to start doing? What are some things that are new for this year that we'd really like to give a try, see if they could work for us? And then what do we want to stop doing? What are the things that we are not enjoying, that maybe we signed up for and it just wasn't a great idea? The things that we are a little resentful of, maybe sometimes, the things that we are regretting having said yes to. What are those things so that we can stop doing those things? So keep, start, stop. And then lastly, there's this idea of having a word of the year. And a word of the year is kind of like, it's like a North Star for the year. So it's something that is going to help you to, make decisions, think about your larger goals, even though it's not super, specific maybe in every sense. So I'll give you an example of this. The first year that I started my coaching practice, the word of the year that I had was build. And so for me, that could mean so many things, right? It could be build my website, build relationships, build my practice, build, 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 build. And what this helped me do as an introvert was when I got invited to speak at a conference, something that I might have been like, oh, that's a lot of people. I don't know if I want to do that. I thought to myself, no, my word is build. this is going to help build my, persona out there or whatever. So I'm going to do it, even if I don't quite feel like it, right? It helped me to say, do I feel like working on my website right now? Not really. But this year is about building, and I got to build it. And so it's something that can be, translatable through all the different parts of your life, your personal life and your home life. Some people have said things to me like they want next year to be about intention, or they want, maybe the next year to be about focus. There are all sorts of different things that it can have. And it can be, sillier than those things too. But thinking about a word of the year that can help you provide just a little direction, a nudge towards where you want to go. So what we've learned about planning this year, right, is that the only path forward is one foot in front of the other. And if you don't have a direction, then you could find yourself walking around in circles by putting one foot in front of the other. If you're thinking about just the very next steps and you're thinking about the direction you want to go, then you will be on the path to getting there. So think about annual planning a little differently this year. Download my planning guide. You can find it right below. Download the planning guide and give yourself a little bit of time to think about what's right for you next year, flexibly, not super specifically. We want to give ourselves some grace.
Guys, quick reminder to like and subscribe. Only about 13% of people that watch our videos are actually subscribed. So it would just be a really big help to like and subscribe.